Hoover Cardinals. My name is Emily Garcia, and today we are on the red couch with our principal, Ms. Carrillo, to talk about the current immigration issue that's going around the state. So, Ms. Carrillo, what are your thoughts about the current immigration issue?
So immigration has been an issue in our country since forever. It tends to become a hot topic depending on the political climate. And as much as I want to separate politics from the realities that we're facing at school, I know that that's naive. I believe that it is very easy for us to look back throughout history, even just recent history, maybe the last 10 years, and identify who the current scapegoats are. Who's the group that is taking the brunt for everything that's wrong in our country. Unfortunately, it appears that Latinos and immigration from Mexico seem to be the group that is being demonized, criminalized, and appear to be taking the hardest hit. Immigration was never intended, or immigration practices and policies were never intended to be about one group of people. But that's not the way that it plays out. And it's unfortunate that in a place as beautiful and diverse as City Heights and Hoover, that it's hitting us hard and that it's impacting us here on campus. It pains me to see and to hear my students dealing with stresses that they didn't cause, they didn't create. They're not voting, and so they have little control over, but it impacts them personally, deeply, and profoundly. And anytime my students hurt, it makes me angry. It makes me want to fight to protect them, because that's my job. It's what I do with my whole heart. Safety has always been a priority for me from day one. Safety from dangers within. We're not always very kind to one another. We're not always good to one another. So we work on a plan to keep our campus safe. The current political climate has resulted in the dangers, both perceived and real, coming from the outside. And those are big problems that our students shouldn't be having to carry the burden of.
What is Hoover doing to keep students safe?
So Hoover admin staff, the Hoover team has been working on this since we knew that it was potentially going to be an issue. We have communicated with the district. We have pushed and advocated for confirmation from what the district's stance is on this. Prior to that, we began organizing opportunities for not just our parents, our community, our students, and our staff to become educated on what legal rights individuals have. We have had numerous opportunities for parents to be trained on knowing our rights. We've worked closely with our school officers, and I've been reading up on everything that I can do legally to protect my campus, to protect our campus. We have a well thought out safety plan. The district recently released information stating that it is their position and their policy that outside agencies cannot enter our campus without going through San Diego Unified School District Police Department. And the only way that they could enter our campus would be under extenuating circumstances, as in there is imminent danger. In that case, it is my legal responsibility to protect our campus from said imminent danger. Our school has two options to either go into a shelter in place or a lockdown, and we've opted for the shelter in place. At that point, we would communicate with all teachers and our students that we have initiated a shelter in place. And that would allow us then the opportunity to make sure that the agencies that are set up and tasked with the job of protecting us are available, they're here, they're present. It is my firm belief, I don't work for other agencies. I work for you. I work for Hoover, and I work for the Hoover community. I didn't come to this job to be a vessel or to be a puppet of anybody else. I work for you. I'm here to protect and to take care of and to guide, to nurture, and to help educate you. And as such, I take that very serious. No one is coming onto our campus without going through me. As the principal, I vow to do everything in my authority to make sure that this issue does not become a blanket issue where we're just clumped together and humans' individual rights are trampled on. There's process and protocol. And right now it doesn't seem that seems to be the priority. But every single individual on our campus has rights, basic human rights. And it's my job to teach us about them and to guide and to educate us on how to protect our rights.
Can immigration conduct raids at school?
Up until recently, policy was that there were certain spaces that were designated as safe spaces. Churches or places of worship, hospitals, and schools were deemed off limits. That was not an appropriate place to conduct politically driven business. And that recently changed. In the books, that has recently been omitted. Legally, I do believe that we no longer have that protection. In practice, the district and the schools have policy in place to protect students, most of whom are minors. I will do everything in my authority to protect us here on campus. I will extend that into being vigilant on what's happening around campus, and I will share information as it becomes available. I ask that we all keep our eyes open, that we share information, credible information, with the school immediately so that we can then act with that information and disseminate it in a way where we all are able to care for ourselves and our families. I think that through this we're going to become stronger together. I think that we're going to become more knowledgeable, and I hope that that we recognize that, again, this is not a Latino or Mexican or Mexico border issue. This is a human rights issue.
Thank you for being on the Red Couch and discussing the concern that a lot of students have.
Thank you for having me.